Hey guys, it's Kyla. Welcome back. Today I am going to be doing kind of another version of a video that I did about 2 months ago. I did a video where I went through all my bookshelves and showed you guys every single book that I have not read. Since then, I've gained more books and have read more books. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about all the books I have read on my shelf to kind of get an idea of how many books I realistically have left to read and just how many books that I may need to get rid of. There are a lot of books I have read on my shelf. There's a lot of books I have not read on my shelf. So this is a kind of continuation of that video and I have a lot to talk about. So that is what we are going to be doing today. We're just going to hop right on into it because there's a lot of books. I think we're going to first start off with this bookshelf just because it's smaller and I have read actually pretty much all the books on this shelf. Also, I'm not going to count duplicates of books that I have because there are some books that I have like multiple versions of. I'm just going to count them as one even if I have like 2 or 3 copies. Let's go ahead and just get started with it. I'm like kind of standing on my chair. So on this first shelf up here that you guys can't really see, but that's fine, I have the entire Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver, which is Flawless, Heartless, and Powerless, and Reckless. I have read all of those ones. And then I have Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, which I have read. I love this book. A Love Letter to Whiskey and the Confidence of Wildflowers duet. And then I have another copy of Twilight. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books I've already read. And then we move down onto this shelf where I have read the entirety of the ACOTAR series. A Court of Frost and Starlight is also over there, but I will count it. Court of Silver Flames, and then I have a version of Asimov that's in Reese's point of view, so I have read that. And then we get into my Lady of Darkness series, which you guys can't really see right here, but there's 5 books, and I've only read 2 of them. So on this shelf, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books. 8 plus 12, 20 books so far. And then we get down onto this shelf where I have Fourth Wing, Masters of Death, and One for My Enemy by Oliver Blake. And then I have another copy of the Twilight series and also Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I don't know if I want to count Midnight Sun because I read 70% of it and then I DNF'd it. I'm going to count it because I did read 70% of it. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So 23 books on this shelf I have read. That's actually a pretty good start. I'm not even going to lie. Just one shelf, 23 books. Good for me. And now we can get onto my bookshelf and my classic shelf where the disappointment starts. So I already know my classic shelf. There's only 2 books on here that I have read, and that is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Pride and Prejudice. So yeah, those are the only 2 books on my classic shelf and my poetry shelf that I have read. Actually, I have read The Princess Saves Herself in this one. Okay, so there's 3. There's 3 on this shelf. Not very good, but it's there. So now we're going to get onto my bookshelf, and the first books I have on here is the Shadow Me series. I have read the entirety of the Shadow Me series, 9 books of the Shadow Me series, and I count the novellas as 1 because they're binded. Even though there's 11 of them, there's 9 physical books. This is going to be a lot of math for editing Kyla to do, so have fun. So I have 8 cubbies on this shelf, and all of them are really full. We have the first 4, which are fantasy, and then the 4 over there are like romances that are not fantasy. So let's talk about my fantasy ones first. So I have read the Dance of Thieves duology by Mary E. Pearson, which is Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves. Super good books. I love them. They were like one of my first fantasy books I've read, and that got me really into fantasy. And then we have The Shadows Between Us by Trishan Levenseller. I love this book. It's such an easy fantasy to get into if you're wanting to read more fantasy, but you don't know where to start. Her books are always so good. And then we have the Hunger Games trilogy, which I have read all these books, and I am so excited to start the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, guys. I'm so excited. But yeah, I have read these. So just on this first shelf, I've only read 6 books on it. And there's a lot of books just in this one copy. So the first 2 books I have is the If I Stay duology, which is If I Stay and Where She Went. I love the movie so much I had to buy the books in like middle school. So these books I have read. And then we have the entire selection series, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I do have the 6th book. My sister just has it, so I don't actually have a physical copy, but I do have the selection series as well as the spin-off series and then the novellas. And I do have 1,000 Heartbeats by Kiara Cass, who also wrote the selection series. This wasn't my favorite book by her, but it was still good. And then we have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. That blew up just all over TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And it wasn't my favorite book, but I do have it. And then we have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and I'm so excited for the 3rd book to come out, guys. Guys, it comes out in October. I am getting that book as fast as I can. So on this shelf, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books on this bottom shelf that I have read. So this is my Sarah J Maas kind of shelf and more fantasy. I have the entire Throne of Glass series. So the ones I have read is Throne of Glass, obviously, Assassin's Blade, and then we have Crown of Midnight and Heir of Fire. These 4 I have read. Queen of Shadows I'm currently reading, but I'm not going to count that in this count because I haven't finished it, and I plan to, I just haven't finished it yet. These ones I have not read. So behind these books, I do have the first book of the Crave series by Tracy Wolff that I have read. I love this series. It's so bad, but it's such a good binge-worthy series, guys. I love the Crave series. And then I have the entirety of the Vampire Academy series. I'm not going to go through all of them. I love the Vampire Academy series though. I will one day hopefully reread the entire series and do a big old vlog for it because that series was my high school. Like, genuinely, the Vampire Academy series, the movie, so good. The books, even better. Like, that was my high school series. There's 6 books in the Vampire Academy series, and then we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books that I have read on this shelf. If my average for each shelf is like 12 books and there's like 24 to 30 books on each shelf, that's so bad. I really need to read more of my books and stop buying books, okay? I know it's a problem. Then this shelf right here, which like you guys can barely see, is my Cassandra Clare shelf. So I've read the first 3 books of the Mortal Instrument series, and then the only other book that I've read on this shelf is Clockwork Princess. No, I lie. That's the 3rd book of the series. I meant to say Clockwork Angel. So I've only read 4 books on this shelf because it's a really big series and I'm kind of scared of it, and so I stopped reading it. But now I really want to finish it. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna put the total of the screen on how many books I've read out of these 4 shelves. It's probably a really low number compared to how many books are actually on the shelf, but we're still getting through it. Now let's go on to my romance shelves, which will have a higher number. They definitely will, because most of them I've already read and I just bought the books after I read them. So now we have my 4 romance shelves. My iPad is casually just sitting on there, my freaking Switch. Anyway, let's start off with this shelf, because this shelf I've actually read almost all the books on here. Read the first 2 Magnolia Parks books, and then I read this entire series by Sophie Lart, and I've also read The Predator and The Reaper. So that's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books. And then we do have some books behind here, which most of them I have also read. I have A Hate Like This by Violet Bloom. I love this book so much, guys. If you guys have seen my back to school like romance book recommendations, this is on there, and guys, please go pick up this book. It's so good. It's such a beautiful cover. Like, go ahead and look at it, and just, it's an enemies to lovers, and it's so good. Anyway, love that book. And then the 2 other books I have read on this shelf is A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime, and then also Trapped with You by Marzi Opal. This is another indie author book that you guys definitely need to read. It's so good. It's also an enemies to lovers, also a second chance romance. Guys, it's so good. And then of course, A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy. If you guys have not read this book yet, then what are you doing? I love them. So how many books is that I've read on here? That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I thought that number was going to be a lot higher than it actually is. It's okay. Most of these books I have read though, so that's a plus. And then we get into this shelf, which has a lot of books on here. A lot of books I have not read. Let's see, the entire After series, which is 5 books. I actually have only read 4 out of 5 of the After series. The only one that I have not read on here is Before, which is like the prequel, and that's like Hardin's story before he moved to America, which it just came with the box set. I just never read it. Probably won't either. What else have I have? What else do I have on here? I have Colleen Hoover books. So I have Heartbones by Colleen Hoover, It Starts With Us, It Ends With Us, Ugly Love, and then Love and Other Words, and then we have The Love Hypothesis. I'm not taking those ones out just because there's a lot of books stacked right there, and I'm not, no. 10 books on this shelf that I have read. Oh, this shelf. Guys, you're gonna be so proud of me, because this shelf, I think I've read every single book other than maybe like 2 or 3 books. So let's go through them. So my first little stack that I have right here is the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I love this series. There was a time where I never shut up about them, literally all throughout last year. Like, anytime I could bring up the series, I would. So there is Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. If you have not read this series, go read it. It's on Kindle Unlimited. You should definitely buy it because also the covers are beautiful. Yeah. And then we have Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This is the 3rd book of the Dreamland Billionaire series, but it is my favorite. So I do have the physical copy of it. I think I have the physical copy of all of them. Yeah, this one is my favorite, Final Offer. It's a second chance romance. guys. And then we have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, and then If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin, which I think the second book, or like this book in Finn's point of view, I think comes out in October, or maybe is it next year. Whenever the second one to this comes out, I'm buying that so fast because this book wrecked me. Behind these books, I have the entirety of the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy, which I have read. So that is The Deal, The Mistake, The Score, The Goal, The Legacy, The Play, The Dare, and then The Chase and The Risk. I've read all of those. I think there's 9 books. And then I have like another little book right here, which is Island Affair by Priscilla Oliveris. It was just like a quick little summer romance that I read this past summer that I really liked. So I did put it on this little shelf just because that's where it fit. And I feel like it matched the vibes. The only 2 books I have not read on this shelf is the new Elle Kennedy series, which is the prep novels. I just haven't gotten around to it. All of these books, other than those 2, I actually have read on this shelf. 17 books I have read on this shelf. That is our highest number yet. Be a little proud of me. Be a little proud of me. Alright, and then we get into this one. I think I have read like a good bit of these ones. These are all like my YA books, or like most of them are YA. Right here we have the Off-Campus series by Abby Glines. I've only read the first 2, which is Under the Lights and Until Friday Night. Very good. I did buy the rest of them. I do want to read the rest of them. I just need to get around to it, which I think I may this semester just because they're football romance books and it's football season. We're in school, so yeah. I tend to read a lot more like school romance books during the school year rather than not. So, and then we have this stack right here. I actually have read most of the books on this stack. So we have The Sun Is Also a Star and Everything by Nicola Yoon. Both are great books, and then the movie adaptations to these books are amazing. They're my favorite movies. They're one of my favorite movies ever. And then we have the She's With Me series. I have read all of them, I think, except for the last one. I read Stay With Me and She's With Me. I still have not read Still With Me, but I will, hopefully. They're like Wattpad published books, but I want to do a video of me reading like all Wattpad published books, so we'll see if that comes out anytime soon. And I do have books behind here. The only ones I've read that are behind these books are these 3, which the first 2 are the first 2 books of the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. So we have the fine print and terms and conditions. I don't care for these books. They're not my favorite because obviously I love Cal's book the best, but if I had to choose between these 2, I would say terms and conditions. Fine print just was not my thing. I do love Lauren Asher's F1 series the best though. I think that series by her is so good. So we do have these 2 books, and then the other one is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I hated this book. So I've only read 9 books on this shelf. I think this one's the winner right here, okay? Let's stick to the positives. Also, if you're wondering about these 2 books, this is Kyland and then Queen of Shadows. I'm in the middle of reading them, so I'm not going to count them, but know that I do have those, and I'm currently working on it. So these are the last books that I have that I'm going to talk about. So we have the Addicted series. I have read all of the books up to Addicted After All. Well, I read Addicted After All and I stopped. Fuel the Fire, I just haven't gotten to the last 2 yet. So that is Addicted to You, Ricochet, Addicted for Now, Kiss the Sky, Hot House Flower, Thrive, and Addicted After All. So I read the first 7 books of the Addicted series, and then we have my Bridgerton series, and I have actually read the first 3 books of this. So that is The Duke and I, The Viscount Who Loved Me, and An Offer from a Gentleman. And there are a lot more books to this series than just the 5 that I have right here. I just stopped buying them because I am going to continue the series. I just don't know when. So that is 10 books I have read right here. So those are all the books I have read on my shelves. I really wish I would have kept count of how many books I've actually read on my shelves. So editing Kyla, please put the number of how many books I've read on my shelves. I don't know how big this number is. I know that it's very small compared to how many books I actually have. Oh, yeah. Hopefully I can make this number go up before the end of the year. I really am trying not to buy any books in September, which I've only bought 1 so far, so that's really good. I know as soon as October comes I'm going to be buying a lot more books though, because so many books that I'm so excited to read come out in October. But hopefully October is the only month where I buy more than 5 books, and then November Iron Flame comes out, so hopefully that's the only book that I buy then. Other than that, I'm really gonna try not to buy any books and just work on my physical TBR, and hopefully I can get through them a lot because I really want to. Yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys like seeing all the books that I have read on my shelves. If you guys want reading vlogs of like my physical TBR, please let me know. I definitely would love to do that. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. I love you all, and peace out.